Shalom. I'm going to continue with my video on who are the chosen people of this earth of God and who are the lineage of Satan. And this is Sons and Daughters of Zion's Bible study number 2. Number 2. You know, human beings, since human history, it dates back in the beginning when the first man was a black man. Scientists know that, archaeologists, all of the professional people know who the first man was, and the first man was a black man. There's no denying that. And the white race did not exist in the very beginning. The Israelites and the Roman War date back to 66 AD up until 135. Slavery was well planned by our adversary, the devil, Satan. Just as God has a remnant on earth, so does Satan. He has his own remnant on this earth. And I don't mean people that just serve him, people that just are bad people. No, I mean genealogy wise, Satan has his own genes on this earth. And I'm going to show you. Now, his people are well hidden in the mass, and many of them has blended in and made it with Esau children, the white people of the earth. Satan children are not of this earth, but Esau children, the white race, is of this earth, and I'm going to show you how. During the time of the war, many of God's people, by the hundreds of thousands, ran into Africa to escape slavery and death. And many settled in South Africa and different parts of Africa. And there was they settled, a huge number of them settled in Negro land. And Negro land, there was a map made in 1747 where it shows the Negro land, and it shows the king of Judah in Africa out of Ghana. And you could see this clearly for yourself. So, when this happened, and we was captured in brought into slavery, um, they called us Negroes. So Negro wasn't just a word that was made up. Negro followed us from Africa into America. They knew the mass, most of the Europeans knew who we were. The Kenites, which is Satan children, they knew who we were. This is why they took us into slavery. God allowed it because we did not obey. We did not obey him. Now, the converted Jews, white Jews, was converted where they were well established during the time of the invasion. They were called Hellenized Jews. Yes, Hellenized Jews. It's in the Bible. The name of the name Jew comes from the name Judah, meaning from the tribe of Judah. And that's where Jews come from, the name Jew. And that name arrived during the time of the conversion of the white Jews. These are the children of the Kenites, Satan's children. This is not the white race which come from Esau. They have a lineage of Satan. And you might wonder how that is possible. Although Esau are not the children of Satan, I believe they mixed with the Kenites because they both were white, not realizing these people were the lineage of Satan. Satan was a bloodline. Satan has a bloodline on earth, just as the Messiah has a bloodline here upon earth. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve ate off the forbidden tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, was this truly a fruit tree, an apple that they ate? I don't think so. Now, Eve and Satan, they had sexual intercourse, and also Adam. Now, was this the first homosexual act, or did Satan turn himself into a female? That is yet to be known. In Genesis 3rd chapter, 3rd verse, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat it. And this is what Eve was telling Satan. Say, you shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. Now, when you look up touch in your Strong's Concordance, touch means to lie with a woman, to have sexual intercourse. Look up touch in your Strong's Concordance. Now, Christians doesn't know that the forbidden fruit was Satan himself, not a snake. It was Satan himself. The Messiah was also in the garden. And out of the ground the Lord God made every tree grown that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden. And the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which was Satan. In Genesis 2:9, Satan talked Eve into obeying God. And Adam listened. Satan talked Eve into disobeying God. And Adam listened to his wife in Genesis 3:7, when the eyes of both of them were open and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves coverings. Think about it. If it was a fruit that Adam and Eve ate in that garden, they would have covered their mouths. But they covered their private parts. Why did they do that? So Ahiah, God, said to the serpent, because you have done this, You are cursed more than all the cattle, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you shall go, and you shall eat dust all the days of your life. 15. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. So we're talking about two separate people, her seed and Satan's seed. 16. To the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. This is Genesis 3:14 to 16. Now Cain and Abel was twins. They brought their offering to God at the same time. Adam knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from Ahiah. And then she bore again, this time his brother Abel. If you look up again in this scripture means to continue in birth. So they were twins. Cain came out first, and Abel came out second. Ask any doctor, and he will tell you that yes, it is rare, but it does happen. Twins of two different fathers, twins with separate fathers. Yes, this is possible, and it does happen. In fact, I knew a woman that it happened to. Cain's descendants are the Kenites, Kenites, not the Canaanites, which belonged to Ham. Canaanites was Ham descendants, but this is Kenites, Kenites, children of Cain. Cain is half human and half angel. So he couldn't be a normal human being. None of the other fallen angel children were normal. They were extremely tall, and they even ate flesh. These people, these fallen angels, mating with human beings, had very different kind of people, not human beings. All of the fallen angels' children were different. He could have been the first albino. Satan's child, Cain, I believe, was white, an albino, among other things, which was very rare. If he was the first albino, he would have been thought of as cursed. Throughout the Bible, the Kenites has infiltrated the synagogue, pretending to be part of the priesthood. They have done this throughout Bible time. You know, they would the lazy Hebrews had servants, and the servants were Kenites, and they would endraft the Kenites into the synagogue to do their duties because they didn't feel like doing it themselves. And these Kenites, over years, thought of by the people as priests because they did the liturgical duties of the priests. So they were thought to be Israelites, which they was not. They were trying to take God's children's place even at this time, very beginning. According to the book of Enoch, 15th chapter, verse 8 to 10, when fallen angels mate with humans, and had children, God didn't have a place for their spirits to go when they died. It wasn't in the plan, it was unnatural. You know, we all have a place to go when we leave this earth. It's prepared for us to go. Either we go on one side of the gulf or the other. You know, we one side of the gulf is torment, and the other side is where God is. So when these fallen angels had children, which was unnatural, God had not prepared a place for their spirits to go when they died. So their spirits roamed the earth, and they were called evil spirits. And they still are called evil spirits. Now think about it. From the time of Cain, and Cain had these had children. Okay, Cain was not a normal human being, and he had children. And you say, well, who did Cain have children with? Because God cast him out of the garden, and he went east into the land of Nod. Well, if you go east from Israel, anywhere in Israel, you go east, you're headed for Europe. Okay, northeast is where Europe lies. Okay, so they roam the earth until judgment day, and they are called evil spirits. Yes, they roam the earth. Not only did Cain's spirit, children's spirit, roam the earth, but all of those other fallen angels' children, who were born into woman and they died, what did they do? They roamed the earth. And that's why there's so much evil upon this earth, because all of those that's roaming the earth in the spirit are Satan's children. Now you might say, does he have children here today? Yes, he does have children here today. And we're going to get to this as to who they are. The Kenites' genealogy came down from Noah's son, Japheth. Now, Japheth was the father of the Indo-European people. Japheth. The sons of Japheth are Gomer, Magog, Madiah, Java, and Tubal. And Meshi and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz. Does that sound familiar to you? Gomer's son was Ashkenaz. Riphath, and Togarmah. The Ashkenaz is the bloodline of the Kenites, the children of Cain. I believe when Cain was cast out into the garden and went east in the land of Nod, Genesis 4:16, it was Europe where he took a wife. Yes. You say, well, who was that in Europe? It was the Neanderthals. He took a wife of the Neanderthals. And what makes this even more credible to me now is the discovery of DNA. DNA was discovered, and the Neanderthal is known to have mated with humans. So I believe that Cain went into the land of Nod and mated with the Neanderthal women. It is why they have Neanderthal blood. And the Europeans, most of all Europeans have Neanderthal blood. And that is why I say Esau children, the white race, mixed with the Kenites, which belong to Satan. And that is why they have this Neanderthal blood in them. None of the black race have Neanderthal blood, although we were called monkeys and coons and you name it. But we are not the monkeys. The laugh is on you. You have, the white race have the Neanderthal blood. We don't. Then he looked on the Kenite, and he took a wife. He took up his orsel and said, firm is your dwelling place, and your nest is set in the rock. Nevertheless, Cain shall be burned. How long until Asher carry you away captive? Numbers 24:21 to 22. So I'm going to read that again. Now, another thing, when they wrote Kenites, I think they tried to hide this because it's written differently in different places. In this place, in Numbers 24:21 to 22, it's spelled with a Kain, Kenite, Canaan. Instead of Kenite, it's Cain, Kain. Shall be burned, and how long until Asher carries you away captive? Asher is one of the tribes of God. So now let's think about it. Everybody wonder, who did Cain marry? Adam and Eve had not had another child yet, so he couldn't have married his sister. He was cast out of the garden, went into the land of Nod in east, into the land of Nod. And it just said in Numbers 24:21 to 22, that his dwelling place was in the rocks. You know, there's many mountains and rocky places up in Europe. You have to go through them to even get to Europe. The mountains and the rocky place, the caves. And that's where they found the Neanderthal. They found signs of the Neanderthal that exists there. And it only makes sense to me that that's who Cain went into that east land of Nod and married. And that is how they got the Neanderthal blood. I know that Esau children, the white race, did not start. They didn't begin with Neanderthal blood. They ended up with Neanderthal blood because they were tricked by these Kenites. These Kenites was white. Esau was white. So it made sense that they mixed. They probably didn't even know the difference. But I want to say shalom and stay tuned for video number 3. And I want you to research all of this that I have said today. I'm not expecting you to just believe me, but I do expect you to look into it and check for yourself. Shalom. Until next time.